Hey everyone, welcome to the first conversation that we're going to have as Liberty's Lantern. It's a reboot. Liberty's Lantern originally started as a political action committee, however, kind of went belly up years ago. And I was discussing over 2016 how to bring back Liberty's Lantern, and we were talking about actually bringing it back as a talk show. Hey, so we are here now. I want to introduce Liberty's Lantern. What is Liberty's Lantern? It is a libertarian organization where we believe in free rights for everybody. We're going to be talking about a lot of hot button issues. We're going to be talking about a lot of things that are going to really raise people's neck hairs. We're going to talk about a lot of things that are going to piss people off. But all it is not to make people pissed off. It's about increasing awareness, talking about other solutions out there, which is the most important part of the entire discussion here at Liberty's Lantern. In addition, it's our first show. So I guess the best thing that we can do is talk about what is libertarianism. I've got all of that right here for us. According to Webster's, libertarian is a philosophy, a person who believes in the doctrine of free will. And that is a small L libertarian, someone who believes in the philosophy alone. You're going to know that a lot of libertarians, they talk about small L and big L libertarian. Big L, that's the Libertarian Party. Small L, that's the philosophy. What's really interesting is that the Libertarian Party really is the only party out there that has not only a party, but also a philosophy. So that is a kind of a defining aspect of the Libertarian Party, something that's unique and different. And unfortunately, a lot of people also confuse the small L and the big L because sometimes they don't always see eye to eye, especially in some of the caucuses, because hey, we're a political party as well. By the way, I do not speak for the political party in any way, shape, or form. So please make sure that you don't think that what I'm saying is necessarily doctrine of the party, especially in future broadcasts, because like I said, we're going to be touching on some really hot button issues. So yeah. There you go. I completely lost my train of thought. So I think that's enough as talking about the small L libertarians. Let's talk about a little bit more about the big L libertarian. I'm going to thehill.com, which is a good political site, kind of right there in the middle. So let's see what they say the big L Libertarian Party really stands for. The first thing is individual freedom. The idea of individual freedom defines the libertarian movement. It is the party of limited government in all forms. I think that's pretty clear, straight to the point, and a good way to start everything off there. Then they also talk about social liberals. The push for individual freedom puts libertarians toward the left side of the political spectrum on many social issues. I think this one is going to be a little bit more of a hot button issue, or a little bit more of a discussion. And it goes back to the fact that we believe in limited government. We talk about government not getting involved in our lives. So we have a very strong disconnect between our personal beliefs and our political beliefs. And because of that, you're going to get a lot of disagreement inside the Libertarian Party about how we individually believe on some of these issues. However, when it comes down to it, the brass tacks of it, we believe that the government doesn't have any right to dictate what we believe or not. So that's kind of one of those interesting things that, we have very different personal opinions within the Libertarian Party. However, we agree that the political structure of the United States shouldn't really get involved to begin with. So in the end, politically, we agree. Economic conservatives, libertarians have the faith in the free market and believe that there is little the government can do to pressure businesses or individuals that would be better than the power of the invisible hand. Ah, good old Austrian economics. Yes, we do believe in that. It is very important. Once again, it goes back to limited government. So really, everything boils right back to limited government, small government. Let us do what we do best. So yeah, that really does kind of sum it right up. Hey, the economy is organic. We cannot think of it as a machine because the economy naturally occurs. Even back to the barter system was an economic system. So therefore, you have to look at the economy as organic. It's not a machine. We're trying to make it a machine, but in reality, it's not. Next, it goes into a specific issue. It talks about abortion. And once again, I'd like to remind you that this is from thehill.com. These are not the points that I put together. I am just going right off of what the top 5 things that make a libertarian, make a big L libertarian, or the items that they identified as. And the next point that they're talking about is abortion. Despite the socially liberal bent, this is an issue where libertarians disagree. I agree with that. We don't agree at all on abortion. The 2014 platform echoed a effectively pro-abortion rights position, arguing the government should be kept out of the matter, leaving the question to each person for their conscious consideration. And that is accurate. But there's a lot of people in the party that would identify that a fetus is already a living entity, and to abort it would be a violation of the non-aggression policy. You'll see a lot of libertarians talk about the NAP, or the non-aggression policy. And it all depends on when you define life as. And that's a question that's really hard because let's agree not to agree on that one. I personally believe that abortion is a woman's right. However, that's politically, not personally. Personally, I believe that abortion is an abomination. The A word that we forget and that we are so afraid of in society is adoption. I have many friends who have tried to adopt and they couldn't because there just aren't enough kids out there. And hey, I understand there are real reasons to abort a fetus, the mother's health, child's health, and those are 99.99% of all abortions out there. But hey, once again, that's a point that we're going to agree to disagree on, and I totally get that. Hey, we're adults, so we can, and that's one of the wonderful things about this country. And then lastly, they talk about a non-interventionalist foreign policy. Libertarians want America to abandon its attempts to act as policemen for the world, and its platform on defense reads like a criticism of America's foreign policy direction. The party's goal is to maintain a military devoted only to national defense while shutting down foreign military and economic aid. Again, I cannot disagree with that statement. That is something that is very libertarian. Basically, it goes back to the live and let live attitude of the Libertarian Party. And it's just expanding it to an international stage. Now, that does not mean that the Libertarian Party is isolationist at all. Do not think that that means that we are isolationist, because we believe in free trade. We believe in interacting with the world at large. We just don't believe in making them like us, or believing that, we can make people better. If they don't want to be better, or if they don't want to be like us, it is not our place to do that. That's kind of the wonderful world of sovereignty of different nations, and we respect that. So, hey, okay. So we talked about that. Lastly, I kind of want to talk about the Libertarian Platform. And you can find this really easy online. I encourage everyone to read it in general. We're going to go really quick over it. But if you want to read it, go to www.lp.org/platform. And it's really, really great out there. Really a great site, actually. They've done a lot of redesign to it and over the last couple of years, and it's made it a lot easier to use. Hey, I've been a libertarian since 2001, so 16 years now. And wow, I've seen a lot of changes in this party, and a lot of them for the better. The first 1.0, personal liberty, and it talks about a whole bunch of different aspects to it. Yes, personal liberty is our number one standard in the party. We do talk about it a lot. We do define it a lot. So very, very important. Remember, the Libertarian Party is the first party ever to support GSM rights. And when I say GSM, by the way, I mean gender and sexual minorities. A lot of other people call it the LGBTQ plus aspect. But in the Libertarian Party, especially in outright libertarians, I'd like to call you guys out. Make sure you go to outrightlibertarians.org. Yeah, they're pushing GSM. It's only 3 letters long and still extremely inclusive. I love that reasoning. I love that rationale. Excuse me. I need to make sure that I have a glass of water with me when I do this in the future. Number 2.0 on the Libertarian Platform, economic liberty. Very important as well. Again, we were talking about the Austrian economics. We were talking about, well, actually, I didn't mention him by name, Hayek, but very, very important. There's a whole slew of Austrian economists out there, and definitely we're going to be talking about a lot of that when we're talking about with Liberties and Lantern in the future, in the coming weeks here. Number 3.0, securing liberty. And this goes back to that national defense and international policy that we were talking about. Wonderful stuff. And also yet another big and very difficult issue to talk about. It's amazing how ingrained the military-industrial complex has become here in the United States. Something that we're going to need to discuss a lot about because we're going to have to change a lot of different opinions. And then 4.0, just kind of the catch-all, the omissions. Our silence about any particular government law, regulation, ordinance, directive, edict, control, regulatory agency, activity, or wow, I cannot speak today. Should not be constructed or implied approval. So, hey, there's a catch-all statement there at the end that says that we believe in small government. Get them out of our lives. So, hey, we talked about a lot of different things. We just kind of glossed over things, really. We really didn't get into the meat or crux of any particular thing, but hey, this is our first one. I just wanted to give out some great little definitions and kind of go over some points. I encourage feedback. I want to hear all the positive, the negative, just as much as the positive. Hey, if you want to call me a commie bastard, I encourage you to do it. I'll fight you for it. But hey, if you want to call me a commie bastard, go for it. And if you love what you hear and you want to hear more, tell me that too. Because hey, I don't want to just be speaking to the people who disagree with me, even though sometimes those are the ones we need to reach the most. But there you go. That's kind of our first episode of Liberty's Lantern talk show for 2017. It's kind of a short one. We're going to make it a little bit more in-depth in the future. We're going to have some guests. I know Pam Adams is going to be talking with us quite a few times. We've talked about that. I look forward to that. I'm sure I'm going to be able to kind of put the screws on and get Sean Hall on the show as well. I'm hoping. We might even conference call some people in, and we can do multiple streams. I don't know. We're going to try it. What can we say? So I look forward to a lot of different conversations, a lot of fun stuff coming up here in 2017, and further if it's a success. But I will commit to every single week in 2017 and see where it goes from there. Yeah, I appreciate you looking, and give me your feedback. Thanks. Have a great one. And Liberty's Lantern out.